Mrs. Gordon here. So happy to see you. So today we are continuing our study for March. For the first 2 weeks of March, we learned about Impressionist artists and art made by Impressionists. We learned about the wonderful Mr. Claude Monet. And we created water lilies inspired by Claude Monet. We got to do some messy coloring, which was super fun, inspired by Mr. Claude Monet. We learned that the Impressionists tried to give a feeling for what it was like, and they painted en plein air, which means in the full air, which means outside, and they were messy. You could see their brush strokes, and you could get a feeling as if you were there, and they used color in a really bold way. And then we took a look at the wonderful art of Miss Mary Cassatt, who was a Pennsylvania artist who was kind of adopted by the French people, and she was an Impressionist also, and she was famous for painting mothers and babies, but we really focused on the fabulous hats that she made, and then also some teacups. So we had fun creating messy coloring jobs, dropping in a Mary Cassatt inspired hat and onto a cartoon person, and we had fun maybe dropping some messily colored and drawn teacups into a cartoon background. All right, oh, look at those fabulous hats. I just want to wear this hat all day long. I need that hat. Today, we're going to shift into the post-Impressionist period. So that's the period right after the Impressionists. The post-Impressionists were artists of the late 19th century, so that's the late 1800s, who saw the work of the French Impressionist painters and were influenced by them. Impressionist painters, their art styles grew out of a style called Impressionism, and the word post means after. So post-Impressionist painting came after Impressionist painting. These artists developed Impressionism, but rejected its limitations. They continued using the real-life subject matters, but with even more vivid colors, often with thick paint. And they added other ideas. They used geometric forms to distort the form for effect, and used unnatural colors in some of their ways. So one of the very amazing post-Impressionist painters is Mr. Vincent van Gogh. And in Mr. Vincent van Gogh's work, you can really see, he took what the Impressionists were doing with the vivid and bold paint strokes, and then he added his own flair to it. He gave this really unusual effect of the sky turning and shifting, right? He took it even farther than probably Mr. Claude Monet would have. And this one, the crows in a wheat field, just one of my favorite all-time paintings. So you can see here that he's kind of altered or abstracted the shapes that he sees even more. He's made the brush strokes even more apparent. And then also in his sunflowers. Well, friends, today we're going to be creating sunflowers inspired by Mr. Vincent van Gogh. And I'm wearing my sunflowery shirt and sweater. I didn't even plan it, but I just noticed I kind of matched this one in the middle. But we are going to be creating post-Impressionist Vincent van Gogh inspired sunflowers today. So get your crayons out, get a piece of paper. You can use a paper bag if you want. You can use, any old piece of paper that you have, and get your messy crayon drawing ready, because we are going to be creating Vincent van Gogh inspired sunflowers. And we are going to be starting with a circle shape to draw the sunflowers. We are going to show lots of different colors in the ground of the table that we're doing. We are going to be adding different colors in our leaves. We're going to be adding our name in here on the pot, just like Mr. Vincent van Gogh did. We are going to have so much fun drawing these sunflowers inspired by Mr. Vincent van Gogh. Are you ready? Let's get started. Whoopsie, hold on. There we go. All right, friends. So here is a sample one that I've created. And we're going to be holding our paper vertically. We're going to be starting off with a pot. We're going to be adding some sunflowers into the pot. We're going to be choosing 2 colors for our sunflower, or for a sunflower pot. We're going to be using colors, blending colors in for the table, blending colors for the background, and using a variety of colors for our sunflowers and our leaves. You can see I've used yellow in the leaf, I've used green, I've used brown. Again, we're doing that messy coloring today. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to be making our drawings even more visible than the last time. You can see all the different lines we're creating, but in each section, we're using more than one color in that section, including the background, including the pot, including the table. Ready to get started? Now for this, I am not using a pencil. It's okay to be messy with this art. I'm okay with that. You're okay with that. We're going to be drawing, starting with the pot, and then we're going to be adding some sunflowers into the pot. So I chose for this one, and I loved how in Mr. Vincent van Gogh you could see the outline. So I chose an orange for my first one. I think I'm going to choose orange again. Maybe I'll choose more of a reddish orange. Why not? I want to make it a little bit different than my last one. And the very first thing that I'm going to do is very close to the bottom, almost all the way at the bottom, I'm going to make about the width of my hand, maybe wider, very slight curve like a smile line. Okay? Inspired by Vincent van Gogh. Those amazing sunflowers. You can see these sunflowers. There is a sunflower at the Philadelphia Art Museum. One of his paintings of sunflowers is there, along with some of his other work. Excuse me. Also, the Barnes Museum nearby has some of his work. The Postman, I think, that he painted. Anyway, coming out to create you can create any kind of pot that you want. You could make a curved line here for the pot. You could make a straight line for the pot. You could make a wavy line, whatever you want. I'm just going to show you how Vincent kind of made his pots. And it's a diagonal line going out and then a diagonal line going in. So I'm going to go diagonally out and then diagonally in. This is going to be a wider pot than this one, but that's okay. And same thing on the other side, out and then in. Okay. I'm not going to add the top yet. I'm going to go ahead and draw in my sunflowers next. Okay. So to start my sunflowers, I'm going to pick a color for the center of my sunflowers. I think I'm going to pick like a golden yellow for the center of my sunflowers. And I'm going to draw some circles. They're not going to be perfect circles. They're a little wavy, a little textury, a little bumpy. Maybe I have a really big one. And then maybe over here even I have some that we're kind of seeing the side of them. So I kind of might make like a letter D, as if the sunflowers are facing down. So I've got some beautiful centers for my sunflowers. I'm going to go ahead and with the side of my crayon, or you can use the end of your crayon if you want. It's just a little faster for me if I use the side. And it can be messy, and it doesn't even have to stay inside the lines. That's the fabulous thing about the kind of drawing and coloring that we're doing today. So I'm quickly coloring in. Once I've kind of colored those middles in, and remembering we're doing messy coloring today, you don't have to stay inside the lines for this. Woohoo! And that one of the great things about that, that's one of the reasons why we're using crayon. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some texture on the inside for that bumpy part of the sunflower. So I'm doing like a curly line. You could draw circles. You could do a bumpy line all the way around over and over again. That would work. Whatever kind of, you could make circles in them. Just to add kind of that bumpy texture of the sunflower. that kind of beautiful round domed middle. Now I wanted to pick another color because that's one of the things that they were using bold colors, and they would often mix their colors together. So I'm going to go ahead and pick another color. If I'm thinking about the colors of the rainbow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, it's a rainbow. I probably want to pick a color that's next to it, or even I could even use a brown. But you see, I used yellow on the first one here, and then I added green next to it because green is next to it, and it blends nicely together. But I think for this one, I'm going to use some orange. And I'm just kind of using the side and going around, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I lost a little bit of it there, so I want to kind of just blending and doing some messy coloring in over top. There we go. All right, so these are like kind of the middles of my sunflowers, but now I'm going to make another layer of my sunflower. So I'm going to pick like a brownish kind of color, and I'm going to make a bumpy line all the way around. Now these aren't even the petals yet. This is still part of the center of the sunflower, and I'm going to repeat that over and over again, going around. And on this one, I'm just going to do it on the curved part, maybe a little bit here. And we're just kind of giving the impression of the sunflower. So they're big, bold, heavy flowers if you've ever seen them. And then I might pick like a green. You know, I'm altering the colors a little bit, and I might change some of the colors that were actually used. I mean, Vincent didn't see gold in the sky, but he added gold in there. So you're kind of thinking like a painter today and drawing like a painter would. And remember, you can pause the video at any time. All right, my next step is going to be to add some of the beautiful pointy leaves. And so I think I'll use a bright yellow, but then I might come back in with a darker brown. So I'm going to add some zigzaggy lines going around. And again, does it matter if it's not perfect? It does not. Does it matter if it bumps into another one? It does not. It does not matter. Oh, I kind of love this. I love that bright yellow. Don't worry, we're going to get to the pot and signing your name too. But I do want to think about what color I could add to this. And it could be a complete, I do kind of think I want to keep it in the same like part of the rainbow. So I might go in and use this kind of reddish color that I did again in the middle. And I might add some of this zigzaggy go round for my petals. We're all about the color mixing today, friends. We're not trying to be perfect. We're trying to be free and really embrace color and life. You know, I feel like there's something missing in this one. I might even go in with some brown in the middle and make more of a brown middle for my, that's almost purplish, which I am loving. Maybe I'll do a little in the middle of this one, a little in the middle of this one. These are kind of off to the side, so maybe I just see it kind of a little bit there. Oh my goodness, I got so excited. My hair did all kinds of crazy things. Okay. Next step. So I've drawn in some flowers. I'm going to draw in some leaves. I am going to use kind of a greenish color for my leaf, but I'm going to add some other colors to it. Because you know, those post-impressionists, they liked the bold colors and they liked mixing colors, just like Mr. Claude Monet did. They liked the messiness. So I've got some green leaves in there, but that is just a little too green for me. So I'm going to come in with some yellow, mix some yellow into it, and I might even mix a different kind of green or maybe even some brown. Wow, that just really popped on that to me. Let's see, let me get a nice brown. And come in and add some brown. I can go outside of lines because we're dealing with the Impressionist, post-Impressionist, pardon me, and they broke all kinds of rules. And they said, you don't have to stay inside the lines. You can paint what you feel. All right, pretty great. I am loving it. I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to think about what colors I want this pot to be. I think I want the bottom to be kind of a grayish color, and I think I want the top to be like almost this reddish color that I used, or maybe a gold, maybe an orange. So I'm going to draw whatever color I want the top of the pot to be. I'm going to draw a curved line, and then I'm going to use the side to color in that top of the pot. And I can color it right over top of my leaves. I can have some orange in these leaves. Why not? Why not add some orange to those leaves? I'm using the side because it's quick and it's messy and it's beautiful. And then, friends, this is the best part. So pick a color, and I want you to write your name. Mr. Vincent van Gogh wrote Vincent right here. I wrote my first name, Nicole, right here. Let's see. I'm going to write Nicole again. That's where my signature is going to be. And then I'm going to go over that whole bottom of the pot with my gray. You can pick whatever color you want. I'm going to go darker on the edges. Is it okay if I go out of the lines? 100% it's okay. And I think I'm even going to blend in some of this red in here. Ooh, that makes like a brown. Who knew that red and gray, this is orange, but orange and gray would make a brown? I guess I would. I did if I thought about it. Because gray is kind of like a bluish color, and blue and gray are opposite each other on the color wheel. All right, there's the bottom of my pot. The next two parts are super easy. We're going to draw a horizontal line. So we're going to draw in the edge of our table. And I'm going to pick, you're going to pick where you want the edge of your table to be. Maybe you want it down here. Maybe you want it up here. Maybe you want it, somewhere in here. I think I'm going to draw it here. Draw it from the edge to the flower pot, and then on the other side of the flower pot at about the same side over to the edge. And then, friends, I'm going to use the side of my crayon, and I'm going to do some rubbing to get that in. Now, if you remember, in Mr. Vincent van Gogh's, he had all different kinds. He even had some texture. He had some major brush strokes showing. So maybe I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add some horizontal lines, kind of like for the texture of the wood. I'm going to pick another color to come in here. I might even choose some blue. Why not? Go crazy. This is your art. You make it the way you want it to be. Why not add blue in there? I think that looks fabulous. We're really, remember they took what the Impressionists were doing with color and they just blew it out of the water. Now, the very background I've left for the very end. I am going to pick a color that I think is really going to make these sunflowers pop. There's a lot of yellow and blue. I might choose purple. I might choose blue and purple to really make it pop. I think I'm going to use purple and blue. And I'm just going to rub behind it. And then I think I'm going to add some blue in there too. So it's going to be like a blue violet. And that blue violet should really make those yellow sunflowers just pop right off the page. So friends and artists, voila, here are sunflowers inspired, again with the unusual and creative hairstyles. Got so into my coloring. Sunflowers inspired by Mr. Vincent van Gogh. Lots of messy drawing and coloring, lots of color mixing, lots of brush strokes showing, lots of lines showing to get the texture of the sunflowers. Happy art making, friends. I can't wait to see what you do with your Vincent sunflowers.